mess with any fiberglass bodies, but got a chance to buy one at a good price, and it's got a bunch of parts with it, and I want the parts, and then I'm going to resell the body. But I've actually got a guy that's interested in the body, and he's going to come today and look at it, and I don't even have it home yet, so I'm going to run and grab it and get it to the house so he can take a look. But it's a T-bucket fiberglass, and it comes with a short 32 grill shell and insert, and which I'll keep, and then some I think it's got some bat wings and some weld-on parts, suspension parts maybe, whatever's there, you know, because I'm in the middle of working on suspension on mine, so on my Roadster pickup. So all right, we'll see what happens. Okay folks, I had a frame, so here's the body. Really nice shape, a little dirty, but black gel coat. It's actually channeled and got a good floor in it. It's got a decent cutout for a transmission. It's got the opening door, no hinges on it, but wouldn't be hard to mess with. The seat, you know, the way they formed it. The bed came with a gas tank, or a, well, a keg, but it didn't have any beer in it. 3 of 76. Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Anyway, it came with it. But pretty neat setup. I think if I was going to build a fiberglass one, this would be a good one to start with, because with the floors already being in like they are, and the seat being made the way they've done a really good job. And like I said, I don't know what brand, but I was told this was made in Sanford, North Carolina, but I don't know that to be a fact. Now my frame don't quite line up with the drop, really close, but that could be taken care of. But that would bring the body back just a little bit, probably another 3 or 4 inches, and give it a little bit more room for the engine. So the frame's the right length. We're good there. I'm going to offer the body up for the same thing I paid for everything, but the frame's extra, and then I've got a front end that's got the Volvo disc brakes that would be extra if they want it. But don't care, you know, if it sells or not, to be honest with you. It's one of them deals. Not too bad at all. All right, let me show you the parts that I'm keeping that I got with it. Okay, first off, 32 grill shell with an insert. I think it's a stainless insert because it's not rusted at all. It's been sitting around in the building for a long time. Shortened, they call it a chopped. Now it is fiberglass. This is stainless, but it'll be a really nice one for another hot rod. I like it. You know, really good shape, perfect shape. Came with it, and then we got the bat wings, spring mounts, and shock mounts for the front. These would hook to your radius rods. Then we've got this weld onto the rear end for the spring, and then we got shock mounts for the shocks on the front. So there's a few parts that we can actually use for sure. And I'm not sure what these are, some kind of, you know, support brackets, but all this did come with it. So this is actually stuff that I could use on the front of the one we're working on now. I may before it's over with, so we'll figure it all out as we go. But we'll see what happens. He'll be here a little while to take a look and see if he wants to buy it or not. All right, so my buddy come, and as you can see, he bought the body, and he got the keg of a gas tank, and for the same price that I paid for everything. So I ended up with the grill shell and them brackets and stuff to use on my car. And he didn't want an original frame, which I had no problem with, because I can use this frame later, or I can use this frame, I can cut it up and use the steel out of it. This 2x3, I want 2x4 on my car that I'm working on now, so that's why I haven't already cut this up. But he's running a parallel leaf suspension and stuff like that on whatever he's building. So on his Roadster, so everything worked out just fine. Okay folks, it looks like at 55 mile an hour in fifth gear we're running about 1900 RPM. And I think I'm gonna change the rear end in this thing eventually. I've got to do something on its suspension anyway, so I think we're going to change it because this thing's geared so low that we're taking off in second gear. And like I said, it's got a 48 Pontiac rear end in it, and it's running the kind of caps I don't like, with U-joints I don't like. So I think we're going to do some changing on that so we can get the we can get it where we can get the RPMs down a little bit at 55. You know, it pulls hard, don't get me wrong. It's got all kinds of pull because of course it's geared low and you know it multiplies the torque, but I don't I mean, I know 1900 is not really that bad, but it's a little higher than I want it to be at 55, because if I want to run 65 I don't want to get the RPMs up too much on this engine. You know, they're not made to run a lot of RPMs like that, so I think that's what we'll be doing here soon when we fix the rear suspension, and then we'll do some more of the body work and stuff on it. So we'll get on that later on. But just wanted to test it. All right. Okay, another thing too, I forgot to tell everybody. Instead of running the two barrels, I actually found a intake that somebody had redone many years ago and made it into a 4-barrel to run a 4-jet Rochester. So I bought that intake, and hopefully the quality of the work is as good as it looks like it is. And if it is, we'll get it cleaned up and get it on and get a 4-jet Rochester on here, and because we really need it. This is a 307 cubic inch Chevrolet, you know, carburetor. So you know, I don't know how many CFM it is, but it's not a lot. So I'd like to get something that's going to feed this 346 a little better, and moves a lot of air, I'm sure. So anyway, we will we'll have it here soon. Okay folks, we may have a change in plans here. We may go with this other axle just because my pieces I traded for, or the pieces I got, was will fit this front end. And you know, these pieces I got right here, I mean, there's not a lot of money there. And then this grill, depending on how you buy it, you know, you can spend a lot of money on this if you're foolish enough to spend it. But I mean, I buy the full length steel ones with the stainless insert for about $209, $210. This one here, being chopped for some reason, they want a lot of money for the grill insert, and so it'd be really expensive. And I guess it's because they're not producing as many. But this is a really heavy made, nice one. It's fiberglass, but it is a nice made one. So what it comes down to is this, and then front end parts are the profit. Well, and these weld on brackets, these weld on the rear end somehow, some way, and for you to set your leaf spring up for your transverse leaf. I don't know if they go in front or back. I'll have to look at some pictures or something. I'm not absolutely sure of it, but anyway, then we can run bat wings with radius rods, and that would be really all we need to do on this, on the rear. Of course, we got to extend the frame, so we're not going to do it back here anyway, but you get the idea. But you know, this grill shell and them parts is the profit made from, you know, buying that body and then going and picking it up, and then you know, arranging him to come get it. It worked out really good because, like I said, he did pay exactly what I paid for it. I didn't charge him any more than that, but like I said, for the time and trouble I got, you know, of going to getting and everything, I ended up with these parts. This is basically what it comes down to. So we'll have our shock mounts that we can bolt them on the frame and be able to mount shocks directly up. So I mean, we didn't get a whole lot out of the deal, but you know, profit's profit, even if it's a trade profit. Okay, so we got these pieces. This is where the shackle goes. The spring goes on it. Your radius rods come up to here. Really, this needed flipped over, but it won't clear the steering. But if you bent the steering up and back, then it could be flipped over like it should be. This one put on the other side. I like this setup, but I don't like it enough to put it on this car. I just don't like it's light duty, more for like a roadster. And I've got other things in the future coming up, so I don't mind saving this for another project. It's going to save me a lot of trouble, a lot of work. There's our shock mounts and our bottom shock mount that goes on the bottom of this piece. So it makes it really simple and easy. Just come up with a spring and some shackles and, you know, go at it. And the radius rods are easy to make. So what I want to do is build my own bat wings to put on here. Build my own hairpins. I want to make them adjustable so I can set my own caster. Because a lot of setups, you know, they're solid and you can't. So if you have a hairpin with adjustment on top and bottom, you can move it back and forth to get your caster how you want it. And you know, you're sort of stuck with the camber on these unless you bend the axle. So I think, you know, it'll be fine anyway. And then might have to do a little playing around with this steering arm. You know, even if we got to move it a little bit or something like that, I don't have a problem with that. I just like the round tube better, especially for this big. This straight eight's pretty darn heavy, so I want to make sure that we've got something together. But I'm going to put this setup up, and what I want to do, and I'll go ahead and tell you what my idea is. I want to start collecting up the parts for another built body like this, except I have got the back of a sedan window, and I know it's probably a little too nice to be cutting up. But I got this back window, and it's rounded up here. It's got a good round here. But what I'm getting at is what I want to use that for is I want to build another one of these, except I want to round the back body the same as what that window section is. I want to put a roof on it. So I want to build a Model A pickup with a top instead of an open car like this. So we're going to, you know, just keep my eyes open for another set of doors, which I think I know where there's a set of doors at. And then another cow, you know, it don't matter what year, 30, you know, 28 to 31. And then we're gonna, like I said, use that piece. Needs a lot of hammering, a lot of straightening, and go from there to, you know, use that for the design though. I like the back window in it. I like, you know, I like closed cars anyway. That back sort of reminds me of you know, my old 5 window and stuff. So it'd be a neat setup. But anyway, it'd be another roadster pickup, or another pickup, but not a roadster. How about that? So anyway, so we're gonna put this up, and let me show you the difference between this one and a stock one side by side. All right, here's the difference. It's supposed to be, I think, 4.5 inches height wise, and between the two. But you know, like I said, I like them both. This is probably the one we'll use on the roadster pickup. If it don't look right, we'll always have that one as a backup. But okay, folks, normally I've got this little deal that I do that if somebody sends me a package or something, I don't put it on the video. I don't do, you know, package openings and stuff like that. And one thing I've always done, because people don't tell me whether they want to their names on video and stuff like that. So, but I'm going to change things. What I'm going to do from now on is, if somebody sends me something, I'm going to do a video on it. And if you don't want your name on the video, then you need to tell me in the package. Otherwise, it's going to get on there, because I'm going to start showing people what you all send me. Because I mean, I get quite a bit of stuff over the years, and I enjoy it and I use it. And you know, there's parts on my cars that came from there, and you know, people that drop stuff off to me and everything. But today I got a package. I got a phone call the other day actually, and I'm going to start this out over at the back of a Ford Explorer. Okay, this is a Ford Explorer. I don't know what year it is. It's mine. Just more junk I end up with, you know, when you do tows and you don't get paid. But I know it's a V8 4.6 engine, but it had an emblem right here. Now, I've already taken the emblem off, but it was a V8 emblem, and it's the old school style. You know, it sort of looked like the original old V8 emblems. And the other day I had walked by and seen that emblem. I said, you know, daggone, that would look really good on my coupe, 500 coupe with the Cadillac V8. So I didn't think much about it, and then I got a phone call about 2 days later or a day later. Somebody wanted to offer me something, and I want to show you what it is. I got a phone call from Ronald Killian, and he is in Ohio, and he told me that he had found something in a creek, or what we call a crick, 45 years ago, and he's had it all that time in really good shape, and he wanted to send it to me because he thought it would be nice on this car, because of course, as you can see, I've got a Cadillac motor. So anyway, Cadillac made a V12 in 37, 38, somewhere through there, and then it's back to inspect. Anyway, the emblems on them was right here. It's a really nice emblem. I'm going to lay it up here on top. But this is porcelain, and it is Cadillac Motor Car Company. And if you look at you can actually see it on here. There's a 12 and there was a V. So this was a V12 emblem, which is actually a really rare emblem. And like I said, he called and said that he wanted me to have it. Well, the first thing I thought of, you know, he was telling me that the V12 emblem was missing, but the first thing I thought of was that emblem. So I thought, well, we could put this on the center, and we could have a Cadillac Motor Car Company V8, and I could mount that on this car somewhere, and maybe I wouldn't have as many people asking what kind of motor that is. And so this is where everybody else's opinion comes in of where I mount this at. Now, putting the V8 on it's not a problem, and I could probably actually, I've got a lot of countersink brass screws. I could get a countersink that would fit most of the way in, and would, you know, be not quite flush but almost flush on there and look really good. But my question is, you know, I do have a hole there where I could do away with the Ford emblem. I could make a piece, and we could screw this right here and put that 8 right there, and that would be neat, and have the little brass heads there and the Ford there, because it is a Ford body. Or we could mount it on the firewall or something like that. But anyway, I'll let y'all let me know your opinion. I kind of like that. I think it's pretty neat. I think we can get it in there and make it stay good, and you know, that'll give somebody a little bit of an idea of what the engine is anyway. And it'll cover our hole, and it'll give me something to do with that V8 emblem I seen the other day that I knew there was a place for. I just didn't know I was going to get a phone call from Ronald and find out that you know, it was all going to work out together. So I'm kind of sentimental about stuff like that. You know, this will be here. In other words, you know, the emblem's not going anywhere. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate him sending it. Appreciate him thinking about me. And I mean, you know, it's something that he's had for 45 years, so it's meant something to him. So, you know, of course, it's going to mean something to me too, and I appreciate him sending it. So anyway, we'll do packages as we get them. I'm not going to do a separate video just for packages like some people do, but if I get something in, I'll show you and let you know. And we've got a lot more work to do on this one. 4-barrel intake's coming. We need a 4-barrel on it. We're going to get the exhaust done. Got some paint, some cleaning up. I got to weld this bracket I broke. They didn't have it the right width over, and I tried to bend it and I broke the brackets. So we'll probably redo the brackets or lower the lights or something. Change something on it up there. Do a little touch-up painting here and there. Get the body painted, and we're going to swap the rear out. I want to go with a higher gear. I want to be able to cruise at 65 without running a lot of RPMs. And at 55 it's at 1900, so you know, at 65 it's just more than I want. I'm not saying it's more than the engine can handle, it's just more than I want to run. If I can get it down around 1600, you know, at cruising speed, I would be tickled. Of because the engine's got enough torque to handle that. You know, the car's not heavy, so we really don't need it to have a really low gear. So that 275 that we're putting the Granada rear in that other car is looking better and better as we go in it. Because this one here, I don't know what it is, 48 Pontiac, whatever they ran in it. So, all right, well, I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll be back on some good stuff here. And I thought I had a water leak. Okay, we'll get back to work. I know I didn't do much work in the video. Somebody complained about that, more work, less talk. But, you know, I'm going to do videos either way, so if I don't get any work done, I'll get some talking done. Alright, appreciate you. Bye. Bye, Nana. Say bye. Alright, I think everybody's already been overruled. I found 3 screws that fit perfect. I mean, the countersink is perfect to where they're just about smooth. And then I still got to make a plate on the bottom and then put some nuts on it. But with them brass, everything's centered up where we need it. It's gonna be pretty. I like it. Sure do like it.